Hello, welcome back. I am I am firstborn son, and you are watching Umineko when they cry. Let's read it with
Well,
Tony and Mike.
yeah. What did you think of the last one?
Well, I thought it. I'm gonna stop talking like that. I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. You know, talking about this stuff. Seems like everyone in the. It seems like most people. Maybe not most people, but at least the two the two men in the family are kind of like not weird. What am I trying to say? Kind of involved in some shady dealings and shady business.
Hmm.
It also seems like because it wasn't like the first thing that Kinzo said was that none of my relatives will get any of my money,
Yeah.
and so but he's been taking money from Kinzo under like a different using embezzlement.
Yeah, he's been embezzling money
So that's a no bueno, por
because he
favor.
wants to make a resort.
Yeah, he wants to make a resort of the island, but the island is inhabited by a witch. Like, what the heck, dude? Why would you make an island?
That might be an attraction for some people.
Might be, but like, fuck that shit. I'm not,
If I was him, I'd be selling the haunted island. I'd be like, come hang out on this haunted island, and then lots of people would want to
I guess. I guess, dude.
come. Okay, this is Battler,
Okay.
I think.
Uh, we crossed the hall again on our way to the entrance. As we did, we once again spotted that witch's portrait. So it seems like the witch is actually part of the family.
Are you sure?
Cause look at her dress. She has like the eagle.
Oh yeah, she
Or
does.
maybe she's depicted as. No, no, no. She doesn't. She does. If the main thing has been everyone in the family has these winged eagles, so she must be a part of the family. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm thinking that's canon now. Or fuck,
Okay.
maybe not. No, 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 no. Maybe the one winged eagle came from her uh, due to Kinzo striking a deal with her. I think that's probably what happened.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. As we did, we once again spotted that witch's portrait. However, spotted is probably not the best word to describe that experience. It was more like our eyes were inexorably drawn to it. That woman's eyes, with their sage-like glamour, definitely had the power to make those who viewed it stand rooted to the spot. So, this is the witch Beatrice. Wonder if that story's true. Oh, Battler doesn't believe in ghosts? Back when he had asked what this picture was, the first person to tell him had been Maria. Therefore, when Battler showed
Why
signs
is
of...
it? I think it's me
What?
now
Oh,
because it's
makes sense, yeah. Talking in third
yeah.
person.
Therefore, when Battler showed signs of doubt, Maria must have felt the Battler didn't have faith in him. Of course, that wasn't what Battler meant. Maria ran up to the portrait and began banging on a plate hanging below it. Maybe the title of the portrait was written there. Maria, trying to prove that she wasn't lying, obstinately continued to hit the plate.
Ah, sorry about that. It's not like I doubt anything you said, Maria. Ooh, Battler believes. Ooh. When
When
he
he
pe-
patted when he
Sorry.
patted Maria's head and apologized, she seemed to accept it, sticking out her chest and proudly oohing.
What's this? My beloved witch Beatrice. Behold the sweet fish river. What's with this huge epitaph? Behold. Okay, wait, let me write this down. I think this is important. Writing stuff down to solve a mystery.
You done?
Nope. I had to get a notebook.
Oh, okay. Keep it all in the notebook so that you can work on it everywhere you go.
Sweet Fish River. Alright. The plate did
have the title of the portrait written on it, but it was much too big to contain only that. Beneath the title was what appeared to be a long epitaph. If you just skimmed over it, several unnerving words would jump out at you.
Incredible, isn't it? Grandfather had that made. Pretty deep, huh? Ooh, I know. It is the place where the gold's hidden. Wait, is that the story about the Ushiroma family's hidden gold? Now there's another thing I remember from long ago. Ooh. Hold on, Anarchy, is this for real? Grandfather had this made, but he'd never say anything about a picture or the epitaph. Even so, amongst the family, it's often whispered that it indicates the location of Grandfather's hidden gold, and that he will relinquish the inheritance and the gold to the person who solves the riddle. Ooh, I heard that too. Lots and lots of gold. Well, something like that. Something like 10 metric tons of gold bars.
10 metric fuck tons of gold bars.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking gold. 10 ants farts worth of gold bars, but I think it's fake though. Still, when you read about it in an epitaph like this, it almost seems real. Huh. I think I already explained Grandfather's upbringing, but let me also mention the Ushiroma family's legend of the gold. Grandfather succeeded the Ushiroma family after it was destroyed in the Great Kanto earthquake, and by successfully riding the stormy seas after the war, he managed to accumulate great wealth. That much of the story everyone knows. However, this is where the strange part begins. Part of it involves Grandfather's black magic obsession, so its credibility is extremely low, but well, wait until the end before you doubt or make fun of it. After the war, Grandfather correctly predicted what the future would hold and won in a huge gamble, accumulated a vast store of wealth. But there's a mysterious legend about how he gained his initial funding. Grandfather came from a branch family. He had no connections with the business world or the financial world. Even though he later built connections with the occupying forces, he supposedly started as a nameless person who hadn't yet gained anyone's trust. It takes trust to gather money. There's no way anyone would lend money to someone they didn't trust. How did Grandfather, who had no reputation at all, manage to obtain his first vast chunk of funds? When asked that question, Grandfather supposedly answered like this. On a certain day, I encountered the Golden Witch Beatrice. Grandfather then went on and on about his continuing research into alchemy and techniques for summoning demons in order to become a great magician. And the entity summoned at the end result was the demon calling ceremony, was the Golden Witch Beatrice. He then apparently made a contract by which he would receive fortune and honor in exchange for his own soul. The witch then granted Grandfather 10 tons of gold. Grandfather used this gold to collaterate and prepare a vast quantity of funds, which he then used to multiply his wealth many times over and revive the Ushiroma family. It seems this story is so old that even our parents were told it when they were still children. So back when our parents were young, they explored this island in all sorts of ways, believing that the gold Grandfather had received from the witch might be hidden somewhere. However, since there was a danger of them getting lost in the abandoned forest, Grandmother began to spread the story that the witch lived in the forest and approaching it was forbidden. I remember that old story. When we were little, we also went all over the island searching for treasure after our parents told us about it. Didn't we get lost in the forest once, then started crying till some of the servants found us? Our parents got so mad. Dang, that takes me back. We sure did. We sure were idiots, weren't we? After all, grandfather only bought the island after using those funds to get rich, right? That means he must have had the gold before coming here. There's no way the gold's on the island. That's not necessarily so. Maybe the gold was hidden on the island from the beginning, and he bought the whole island just to ensure that it'd be his and his alone. There was a whole 10 metric tons of it, right? Seems more realistic that he tried to secure the place where it was hidden rather than try to move it at all. This epitaph was made 2 years ago, and since grandfather wrote it himself, yeah, it does make the legend of the gold seem more believable. This so-called witch's gold that revived the Ushiroima family weighed 10 tons. Maybe that's sleeping somewhere ready to be turned over to whoever can solve grandfather's riddle. Maybe that's why he did it. Ha, I guess that sounds like grandfather's style or something. Hehehe, if it's true, that's pretty incredible. The epitaph carved into the plate was very mysterious, with something like a poem or song written on it. The text was incredibly disturbing, filled with signs of grandfather's black magic hobby, and its contents were truly in bad taste. But it could definitely be viewed as a puzzle which, if solved, might lead to the hidden gold. Whether that's what he intended or not, I can't even imagine what his true motive might have been. All we know for sure is that grandfather put this shady epitaph here to show it, so that everyone in the family could see it. We also know that he's hinted at the existence of gold without ever talking about where it might be hidden, at least so far. These facts then were embellished by the imaginations of our parents, who were convinced that grandfather was challenging us to a battle of wits.
Ava's not even here.
Sounds just like my dad, so greedy that he takes something like this so seriously. He may laugh at grandfather's black magic obsession, but he'd still believe the story about the hidden gold. Sounds so good. Well, it's certainly not a realistic story. At that time, when grandfather was still nameless and had no connections, there was no way anyone would just lend him a massive quantity of gold bars for free. If such a person actually did exist, it's not unthinkable that grandfather would call such a sponsor a witch. Yeah, but it's 10 tons. 10 tons. If you catch that in, how much would it come to? I mean, it'd have to be a ridiculous amount, right? It certainly would be a ridiculous amount. They say that the total amount of gold mined by humankind since dawn of history is 100,000 metric tons at most. That's 1/10,000th of all the gold humankind has obtained throughout humanity. Should belong to just one person is just insane. On top of that, this witch supposedly had all the gold collected in one place and was able to lend it to grandfather just like that. We're not talking about any ordinary person. Well, to me, that 10 tons seems pretty fishy. After all, no one's actually seen it except grandfather, right? Even if we assume that some generous witch existed and lent him some gold, maybe it was closer to 10 kilograms than 10 tons. Even 10 kilograms would be a pretty incredible sum, right? Ooh, 10 kilograms of gold is how much? Maria, who wasn't following the story and felt like she was being spoken to in riddles, finally found a place where she could ask a question. It was a question I also wanted answered right then. Whether it was 10 kilograms or 10 tons, it still felt like a huge amount, but I had no idea exactly how huge. George folded his arms and tried to remember the market price of gold. Well, even the value of gold is affected by the market, and the value of physical gold can change depending on its purity and the trustworthiness of the foundry. You also need to pay handling fees to cash it in, however that doesn't change the fact that it's precious metal, and some people estimate that humanity will mine all the world's gold within half a century if gold mining continues at its current rate. Just guessing haphazardly, I think you could expect a price of about 2 million yen per kilogram. Well, just now I randomly said 10 kilograms since it sounded smaller, but even that would be worth 20 million yen, wouldn't it? Ooh, I weigh 28 kilograms. Convert me into gold. Use my body for gold. Alchemy, I shall teach you. Which means that if we had Maria's weight in gold, we could estimate it's worth at over 50 million yen. That's just unbelievable. How much would 10 tons be then? 10 kilograms is 20 million yen, which you multiply by 1,000. So 20 billion yen. What the hell? How much is 20 billion yen actually worth? We can only measure it relative to our own pocketbooks. Anyway, let's say that a person's wages over a lifetime are about 200 million yen. You grow up and work like crazy, sacrificing your life for your company, and you're finally freed as you approach old age. Everything, including retirement money, might add up to about 200 million yen. In other words, that's the amount of money that'll be made throughout a human's life. No, you could even call it the value of a life. So 100 times the sum is an unbelievable amount of money. If you work from age 20 to 60, that's 40 years of work, so it's equal to 40,000 years of work wages. And if you worked every day starting from jump on period, you'd only reach that number about now. Ooh, is 20 billion yen a lot? I don't know.
Yes.
Heck yeah, it's a lot. It's average. Ray, you love you love shortcake, right? You could buy more shortcake than you could possibly eat for the rest of your life. However, while this might be possible with 20 billion yen in cash, I don't think it would be very realistic to have that much gold bars all in one place. Just as I said, gold is extremely heavy, so it isn't exactly convenient as a method of storing wealth. Sure, you can imagine someone gathering their fortune together as incredibly high-value stocks or precious gems. You often hear of people who traded their wealth for precious gems so they could carry it around with them during chaotic times of the war. But you don't usually hear stories of people exchanging their wealth for gold. It may be heavy, but it's the most trusted and stable form of wealth internationally, so maybe that was important? Yeah, because gold doesn't rust or anything. For example, bonds are just scraps of paper if the whole country goes under. You can also look at it that way. But even one 10-kilogram ingot is pretty heavy to carry around. Haven't you heard? A 50-kilogram person can't carry a 50-kilogram bag over their shoulder. With that many gold bars, the amount of labor and risk for one person would be hard to calculate. So what you're saying is, while it'd be one thing if you had a stack of banknotes with 20 billion yen, 20 billion yen in gold would be such a big amount that practically it'd be kind of pointless. That's right. Although the legend of the golds does have a pretty interesting ring to it, just the part about the 10 tons of gold makes it pretty much impossible. If you think about it logically like that, it sounds obviously fake. Kind of brings you back down to reality. Anyway, that's grandfather for you. Maybe he exaggerated the story of how some kind wealthy person gave him a loan by saying he got 10 tons of gold from a witch. Even the number 10 tons feels pretty symbolic. You mean like this gratitude for the money he borrowed was worth 10... No, stop. Was worth 10 tons of gold or something? Maybe some rich man's leisured wife generously granted it to grandfather. Maybe he started calling this person a witch. Ha ha ha. Is this me?
Yeah, that's you.
Okay. I see. Jessica's example isn't bad. Someone who generously lent a huge sum of money to grandfather when he still had no reputation might as well be called a witch. Furthermore, grandfather actually did use that money to build a vast amount of wealth later on. The fact that this person was so great at judging people might also justify calling her a witch. Also, since she went to the trouble of lending all that money, she might have enthusiastically overseen how it was spent. The decision to unexpectedly get involved with the occupying forces and profit from the Korean War demands might have been inspired by the witch herself. That might explain why he claimed to have received both wealth and honor from her. I see. So in other words, this witch lent grandfather the funds necessary to revive the Ushiroima family, and he owed her big time. And then he felt so grateful that he had a huge painting drawn and displayed. Yeah, it's not that crazy a story. It's even possible this person was an old granny who looked like a witch. Maybe grandfather idolized her and that's why he had her drawn to look so beautiful. Haha, I bet if we ever did meet this person, she wouldn't be nearly this pretty. Ha ha ha, that's possible. The name Beatrice sounds pretty Western if you think about it, and if you think about how everyone in our family has Western names. Maybe even the name Beatrice is the result of grandfather trying to rearrange some Japanese person name to make it sound Western. I get it. That means this pretty girl doesn't exist outside the picture. Guess that means I won't be able to rub those elegant breasts. Ehehe. In the first place, isn't having a witch pretty bizarre by itself? Like, you could find something like that anywhere on Earth. I laughed and made fun of the witch, trying to distinguish myself from the kid I was 6 years ago who feared the witch out of the forest, when Maria tugged at my sleeve. I could tell by how hard she pulled she was a bit upset. What is it, Maria? Ooh, Beatrice exists. Maria stared up at me. She had on her unusual sour look, but I could tell she was angry by the color of her eyes. What? What? No. That's not the no.
Your eyes turned red.
No. That's dumb. That's actually dumb. Okay, moving on. Witches exist. Whoa. Well, sure, they do exist if you turn the TV on and watch animus or something like that. Watch the mangas. Witches exist. Ooh. I started getting impatient, not knowing why Marie was jumping on me like this. Then Jessica tapped me on the shoulder and whispered, "Dumbass, you're smashing a kid's dream. Maria really believes things like witches and Beatrice exists." Come to think of it, Maria, in social studies at your school, when you were asked to write what you wanted to be when you grew up, you wrote a witch, didn't you? Maria nodded seriously. Tears started to run from the corner of her eyes. I see. To a girl who wants to become a witch in the future, the existence of Beatrice was proof that witches do exist in this world, and was therefore an image that she yearned after and admired. Exist. Witches exist. But Battler still doesn't believe. Ooh. It's okay, witches do exist, I believe it. George kneeled down and hugged Maria's head. Watching this, Jessica poked my side. So that's what it is. It's like shouting that Santa Claus doesn't exist in front of a child who believes in him on Christmas Eve. I'm not that kind of guy who likes to shatter kids' dreams. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make fun of your dreams, so I apologize. Beatrice does exist. Even now, she's living in the forest and comes to the mansion every night to peek in and see what everyone's doing, like a pedophile. So you shouldn't go into the forest. At night, you mustn't stare into the dark forest. You might be seen by the witch of the forest, Beatrice. After all, grandmother said so. Ooh, really? Battler really believes? She's Yoda now. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. I can't do a Yoda voice though. Yep, I believe. Sorry for doubting it. Come on, let's make up. I stuck out my hand. Maria grabbed it with her tiny hand, and we made up. She also spit in my hand. It was gross. Maria didn't grumble any more than that, so George and Jessica were relieved.
Oh. So this is where all of you were. I was sure you had just left to go to the beach.
Shannon carrying a basket, was surprised to find us all gathered in front of the portrait. Ah, Shannon. Well, this is the first time Battler has seen Beatrice's portrait. He was just fascinated by it.
That's right. It certainly is fascinating. Beatrice is truly beautiful. I am sure that she captivated the master.
In addition to the patron theory, there's also a theory that she was grandfather's first love. Either way, Although it's been several decades since he met her, even now she holds a special place. Fuck, I just skipped that. Special place in his heart, which must mean that he's still captivated by her. Sheesh, that must have made grandmother pretty jealous, huh? I'm not really sure, but that might actually be true. Apparently, grandmother believed he was cheating on her with some blonde. Ooh, good smell. Good smell coming from Shannon. Do you have cut on your finger? Oh, I smell blood. Maria, sniffing, approaches the basket Shannon was holding with interest. After hearing that, they noticed a fragrant scent with a touch of vanilla.
I apologize. I was told by Kumasawa to bring them to everyone.
What is it, I wonder? Oh, excellent. Cookies. Whoa.
Okay.
I love cookies. That's how George talks now. Ooh, wanna eat cookies, want to eat cookies. Oh. Please eat. That's you.
Oh. Please, eat as much as you would like. But,
Is that...
well, would it,
Here.
would it be...
Oh, that's me. No. Would it be appropriate to serve cookies in a place like this in front of the portrait? Shannon sent us a glance that seemed to ask what we wanted to do about it. Well, yeah, guess eating here would be pretty bad manners, generally speaking. Maria, why don't we eat someplace else? Let's put the cookies in a bento and have a picnic of just cookies. That's the best idea ever. Just a cookie picnic. Ooh, have a picnic, only with cookies. If we can eat cookies, let's go. Yeah, let's go get some fresh air. We shouldn't stuff ourselves right in front of the witch. That's right, didn't we say we wanted to go down to the beach in the first place? Let's go. Shannon. Sorry, but could I ask you to get us a blanket to sit on and some flasks of tea? Preferably with bourbon in them. And blood for the blood god. For Maria.
Right. Certainly.
Shannon received her instructions and gracefully bowed before retracing her steps. We headed for the beach on our own. Everyone headed for the entrance in a group. Oh, was this you?
Feeling as though... Oh, yeah, that's you.
Yeah. Feeling as though that witch was staring down at our backs, I turned around once more. Ooh, Butler, you still don't believe? Nope, I believe. It'd be so much cooler that way. The golden witch Beatrice gave grandfather 10 tons of gold. And that gold might be sleeping around here somewhere. Besides, didn't grandfather write that strange epitaph as though challenging us to find it if we can? I'd say that kind of adventurous story is way better. 20 billion yen worth of gold, huh? Yeah, even if we split it up between the four of us, that's still a ridiculous amount of money. 5 billion yen for each of us. Incredible. With that kind of money, you could probably make any sort of business prosper. In fact, we could live our whole lives fabulously without working at all. Ooh, I don't want 5 billion yen. I want cookies and blood for the blood god. Wahahaha. Maria would take cookies over money. Still, 5 billion yen, that's like a dream. That's like 5 billion cookies right there.
That 5 billion cookies is too much.
What are you talking about? Ridiculous. It is possible that you all truly believe in Father's legend of the gold. Of course we don't believe that story about a witch giving him gold, but there's no mistake about the gold itself. The fact that Father obtained gold bars from an unknown source has been confirmed in several ways. So we've heard that before the president of the Marceau company died, Father showed him a large pile of gold somewhere. Father used that man's claim as proof that there were 10 tons worth. That is just the nonsense of a senile old man. Along with father, he was just fabricating a story. You can't take it seriously.
Now, if that gold didn't exist, he wouldn't have been able to gather so much funding. Before the president died, he was a person with such a sincere personality that he earned the respect of many in the business world. He wouldn't have become a partner to such fraud.
Anarchy. The president of Maruso definitely saw it. 10 tons of it, clearly, with his own eyes. Even more, Dad let the president take one ingot at random and have it examined. The result of the examination showed that the 10-kilogram ingot was 99.99% pure. He said that the Ushiromi family crest, the one-winged eagle, was imprinted on it.
Almost instantly, the Ushiromi legend of the gold spread amongst the fixers of the business world. Gold from an unknown foundry has a poor rate of conversion into money. Thinking that it was a chance for decisive profits, they accepted it as collateral, and as a result, father was able to receive massive loans. Is there no limit to the absurdity you're willing to accept? How old are you people? Are you still talking that nursery tale you heard as children? Seriously? Where is the proof that these 10 tons of gold even exists? Aren't you just parroting the lies of father and those few of those close to him?
Of course, it's just a story, but still, Anarchy, the amount of money Dad raised required a suitable amount of collateral. Even if the gold itself was just a rumor, it's an undoubtable fact that he showed them a treasure of comparable worth.
It was just an illusion of money created by our penniless father. He acted as though he actually had gold that didn't exist, fooling his sponsors. It was probably the gamble of a lifetime. Luckily, his use of those funds proved successful. And the Korean War demands hadn't come and the Ushiromi family had not been restored, father would probably have been hounded after is the crooked century.
So, are you saying the gold never existed and father made it all up?
Of course. And because of that, the illusion of gold became a mere inconvenience once he had achieved enough success. That's why later on father added all that about the witch and black magic, weakening the credibility of the entire story. In other words, he revealed that the illusion of the gold was a fabrication. If he claimed to have received the gold from a witch, no one would believe it had existed at all, right? It's also possible he said it for all of your sakes. Nevertheless, here come some stupid offspring wanting to divide up this non-existent gold along with the rest of the inheritance. Rosa, don't tell me you believe in a fabrication like this.
I can't prove whether or not father really had the gold. I just want to claim my rightful share as one of father's 4 children.
Huh. It seems even you have started to talk that way, Rosa. I see, so that's what you're getting at. You're trying to claim that I'm attempting to keep all the gold for myself. Big brother, you've gathered a massive supply of funds. That's a fact. If we rule out the possibility that you've been embezzling father's personal funds, then there's only one possibility left, right?
Anarchy, we've been thinking that you might have found those 10 tons of gold bars.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Such a thing never existed in the first place. Then explain yourself. Was it embezzlement of father's assets or father's hidden gold? How could you have gathered so much funding if not by one of these methods? Even I have many friends in the political and financial realms. I have earned their cooperation, nothing more. And on that matter, I have no responsibility to explain myself to you. You understand, don't you? There are some topics that ought not be spoken of.
If you insist on that point, then all's well and good for now. But Anarchy, Dad doesn't have long. Nobody can ensure that he'll live to see this day next year. The inheritance process will begin at the instant of Dad's death. We'll arrange for lawyers and accountants who are impartial to all of us and have them inspect Dad's financial situation.
at this time, if it comes to light that you're unjustly interfering with father's money, you understand, right? I don't have a clue what you're talking about. You're starting to make me feel as indignant as my wife was.
Of course, father's gold is part of father's fortune. We understand it's money you can't reveal openly. But the 4 siblings should have an equal right to it.
No, it's all mine. All my money.
In other words, we're gonna have your financial situation investigated as well as Dad's to determine whether you're hoarding the gold or not.
Isn't this a great opportunity right now to prove the existence of your so-called support from friends and acquaintances? That way we can sportingly apologize for foolishly doubting you. Right, Rosa?
That's right. Cross, you are the one who's dodging the issue. If you were guiltless, you could just prove that you were in the right, but you aren't even trying to do so. However, Aniki, we still have to consider your position here. As Dad's representative, you're probably bearing a larger share of the burden than we are. We've been living terribly relaxed lives until now, so it wouldn't be fair for the rest of us to complain without taking your efforts into account.
Huh. Seems you cannot make up your own mind whether to flatter me or slander me. Please get to the point.
Basically, randomly investigating nitpicky aspects of father's wealth seems like a pretty crude way to go about it. As you said, Kraus, there may have been movements of money that are difficult to explain. We've come to consult with you today while fully aware of that point. Both sides stand to gain from talking about this now.
A consultation? Oh, I laugh at you.
When the inheritance is divided, you'll be rewarded for your years of hard work taking care of Dad by an agreement that's generous in your favor.
Don't misunderstand us. We aren't saying that we'll abandon our rights, but when we make our claim for what we deserve, we might as well offer a generous understanding for your position. That's what we mean.
In other words, if you accept our conditions, then when the inheritance is divided, we'll leave the investigation of father's financial situation to Kraus.
All of the siblings from Ava downward suspected that Kraus was trying to steal their father's wealth. So letting Kraus report the state of that wealth was extremely contradictory and a huge concession. If, as they claimed, Kraus was actually embezzling money, Kraus would be able to hide that fact. Besides which, it'd be possible for him to control the distribution of the inheritance in a manner favorable to himself. Kraus, realizing that this sounded too good to be true, couldn't help but feel suspicious. He couldn't help but worry about what they'd ask for in exchange.
Oh, after mistrusting me completely, you now say you're willing to restore your confidence in me as the eldest sibling? So, what is it you want in return?
Just what we deserve as siblings, your soul. You aren't the kind of person who'd steal Dad's property, but you also aren't being financed by some patron. Considering all that, there's a certain explanation that'd satisfy the rest of us.
You found 10 tons of gold and used that as collateral to gather some funding. Yes, just like Father did in the past, right?
If that's the case, there won't be any funny business in Father's finance. You've always been a good son, looking after Father. Why'd we mistrust a person like that?
You're being so roundabout, I can barely understand you. Please speak in clearer and more practical terms.
Our first condition, you must admit that you found Dad's gold.
Are you asking me to admit I possess gold that doesn't exist? Our second condition, you'll acknowledge that each sibling has a right, to share of the gold, and you will pay out those shares. How foolish. With that non-existent 20 billion yen of gold, that would be 5 billion yen per person. Are you telling me to pay a total of 15 billion yen? Ridiculous. How does he know that off my heart?
Keep listening till the end. We know that much money can't just pop up out of nowhere. We're not asking you to make an impossible deal. Of course, regarding the portions of the gold, we plan to reward you plenty for your work until now.
Our third condition, the portion of the gold to the one bearing the title of successor to the Ushirama head family will be 50%. The remainder will be considered the fair share for the siblings and divided up. Of course, this also includes you, Kraus.
Of the 20 billion, 12.5 billion would go to Aniki, 2.5 billion to Ava, 2.5 billion to me, and 2.5 to Rosa.
That division scheme makes me so grateful I could cry. So you're saying for the sake of God that doesn't exist, I must pay you 7.5 billion yen? What's, what's wrong? Big brother, your share is 5 times the size of ours. These are such good terms, I'd be jumping for joy.
Our fourth condition. The gold will be liquidated and distributed along with the inheritance at the time of father's death. However, as a deposit, 10% of our portions are to be paid to us promptly. These payments must be made before March of next year.
What do you think, Kraus? This is an ideal chance for you to restore the trust regarding your handling of father's assets, isn't it? Of course, it might be impossible to get a whole $7.5 billion before father dies. But it should be possible for you to manage a deposit of 750 million, right?
Paying 70 million yen in half a year might sound like a pain, but you should be able to manage it, what with all your friends in the political and business spheres.
Normally, we'd hope to receive 77.5 billion right now all at once, but out of concern for you, we'll show our sincerity by asking for only 10% of that for the time being. The remaining 90% can wait until the inheritance is distributed. See? Even you'd be capable of managing a mere 10% to show your sincerity. So you're trying to get me to sell the right to assess father's financial situation for 750 million yen? Hehehe. How impressive. You all certainly have grown. To think that I'm now the one being offered deals. Big brother, if you accept these terms, the rest of us siblings will leave the investigation of father's assets to you. However, the results of that investigation will be subject to scrutiny. It's only natural, right? We'd be so sad if you managed things so that our 7.5 billion share shrank.
We'll avoid complaining as a general rule. Just make sure you do it neat and tidy. As long as you don't try anything that's blatantly obvious, we've got no intention of stirring things up. We want our inheritance quickly, too. We don't want it to get all drawn out and left hanging.
If a complaint is made, who would carry out the follow-up investigation? We don't mind if it's you. This is probably the first and last chance for our siblings to reach a consensus. I believe it won't come to that. Looks like even you can speak up. You can speak up and now and then, Rosa.
By this point, it's obvious that Kraus wasn't at all trusted as the oldest sibling, so there's no need to go into detail.
Still you.
The formerly tyrannical oldest brother had always abused his privileges and violated the other sibling's shares. It was in response to this that the other three, now adults, were finally teaming up and striking back for the first time.
Whoa.
Sorry, but there's more. Our fifth condition. This decision must take precedence over father's will. Later on, we don't want some will to appear and make this decision completely irrelevant.
I see that you're very cautious. Then let me ask, if the gold really were found, what would you do?
Since you'll be making payments to us for what the gold's worth, The rest of us really don't care if we ever see the gold or not. You can think of our share as an advance payment.
I remember. It's good to have dreams, isn't it? You plan to turn this island into a resort, right? You might stumble upon the gold by chance during construction. Are you reading? Right here.
Ava let out a high-pitched laugh. Kraus watched, but didn't even flinch.
Let me add a 7th condition before I accept. A 7th condition? What? Hold on a second. Nah. That was the 5th condition. What? This skipped a number. So, is it like is it hidden in plain sight? Where is it? Where is it?
I don't know.
Bullshit, they wouldn't mess that up. How does he know there are 6? Are there? What the fuck?
They might have said at the beginning, like when they told him about it.
Maybe.
First said they might say we have 6 conditions.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
Maybe. Fuck, I don't know. I'll have to rewatch the episode. Let me add a 7th condition before I accept. Oh wait, no, this is him. If I would, let me add a 7th condition before I accept the situation that any sibling other than myself finds the gold, they will immediately turn it over to me. Yes, of course, we'll hold on to it for you.
It was a play on words. Of course the others who were forcing Kraus to pay money for some non-existent gold wouldn't save Kraus's portion if they actually found it. From the beginning, this deal had been nothing more than a threat directed at Kraus. Regardless of the actual facts, it was still extremely likely that Kraus was embezzling his father's asset. When Kinzo faced death at last and had his inheritance distributed, some unpleasant facts would surely come to light. That could easily become fatal to Kraus. The others had spotted this weak point and were threatening their brother under the veil of lies, trying to wring a huge sum of money out of him. However, they had forgotten one thing. They had forgotten that their brother's brain moved so swiftly, at least when it came to cunning and guile, that they'd been forced to band together to combat him. While Ava couldn't stop smiling, sure of her victory, Kraus let out a gloating laugh to show how relaxed he was.
Wait, no. This all makes for such a touching story. My estrangement from all of you has left a deep pain in my heart. If accepting these conditions means we siblings can become friends again, it would please me to no end. I'd be happy to agree to your deal. Rejoice, Rosa. We have reached an understanding.
Rosa's expression dimmed. It was never a good sign when her brother started talking like this. Ava also keenly picked up on this. That's why she was unable to wipe away a sense of unease, even though Kraus had obediently accepted the deal.
How obedient of you. It's not like you at all, big brother. To say, are you implying I have some ulterior motive? Of course I don't. I'm just the same as all of you.
Just the same as all of you. He seemed to emphasize just that one part.
I don't know what that could mean.
The color of Rudolph's face darkened. To him, it sounded as though Kraus was saying, I have a plan similar to yours. So Rudolph panicked. He rushed to bring this nearly resolved discussion to a conclusion.
Then we're good. So, Anarchy, Would you mind signing here? This is a written contract summarizing the discussion we've just been having. There's one for each of us. Everyone will sign for the same contents.
Rudolph took 4 written contracts out of his breast pocket that had the details of their deal written on. The 7th condition you proposed will, of course, be added right now. Don't worry about that.
Anarchy, need a pen?
Rudolph took a fountain pen out of his breast pocket and offered it to Kraus. Kraus made as if to accept it, but then, with a small laugh, he drew back his hand without taking spoke.
Actually, in order to ensure that this agreement is properly executed, I'd like to propose an amendment on just one point. As
soon as Kraus said that single all of the siblings felt as though something ominous was creeping up their backs at the same time.
That won't do. We've already decided, haven't we? Just stay quiet and sign it. What are you doing in such a hurry, Ava? Of course I'll sign. I promise the share of the gold going to all of you will be 7.5 billion yen. I also promise that when father's inheritance is distributed, I will cleanly and neatly liquidate it. However, there's one point I simply must insist that you compromise on.
What are you talking about? What don't you like?
The part about promptly paying 10% of your share, 750 million yen. As you pointed out, my financial situation is far from prosperous. While I can guarantee that I will collect on various future investments, I must admit that I am quite poor at the present moment. In short, I have absolutely no money that I can move around right now. I am incompetent, and my business sense is dull. Since I am the loser you all claim me to be, I don't have the power to move 750 million yen in just half of a year. That can't be true. Are you trying to deceive us with such a half-baked trick? At the time of the division of the inheritance, I will liquidate everything at once. Remove the condition that I must pay you 10% in advance. That is the only condition under which I am willing to sign.
Krausnissen, that 10% is nothing more than a number to measure your sincerity, isn't it? All things being equal, you shouldn't have any room to negotiate at all. We're doing you a huge favor by offering to let things slide for just 10% in good faith money. Now that we've explained that, you rejecting our offer would seriously damage our trust and relationship, right? Hideyoshi had a humble expression on his face and was rubbing his hands together. But his eyes weren't calm at all. Kraus had already seen through to the shadow in the depths of those eyes.
Huh. Why are you in such a rush? Or could it be that you're afraid of something? Rosa, won't you tell me all alone? Secretly, so the rest of the siblings can't hear. It's not as though I...
Quit it, Anarchy. All we're asking is whether you're gonna sign or not. Just forget about making any strange deals or any other suspicious moves.
Huh. You say I have no room to negotiate? Are you trying to claim that I am in a weak position, which therefore puts us in an unequal relationship?
Shivers began to crawl up Rudolph's back. He began to feel himself getting overwhelmed by the height of his brother's completely insurmountable wall, the long shadow that had existed since they were children.
Shouldn't deals be made between those uneven footings? From my perspective, this deal will help restore the long-lost trust of my younger siblings and deepen the love between us. It's an old problem they've been eating at me, and one I would prefer to resolve as soon as possible. I would be overjoyed if we could resolve it today. However, it seems I'm not the only one who would be quite glad to close this deal quickly. Am I wrong?
Kraus stared at each of the siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Only Hideyoshi was slow in avoiding it. So he was caught by Kraus's gaze.
Hideyoshi, I hear your company has been doing extremely well lately. At a brisk pace, it went public, and both its track record and stock prices have soared. I am truly jealous. We aren't here to talk about my husband. However, it is unfortunate that you have neglected your stockholders. It's even more unfortunate that you were unable to solidify your base when you became stock listed. Before you realized it, some bad-natured colleagues of yours had bought up a huge share of your company's stock, right?
How could you...
How could you know about that?
My bad. The same way you can know about me. If it's possible to collect evidence proving that no one would offer a loan to me, then it's possible for me to collect evidence on you. Ha 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 ha. Is it really so unexpected as that?
Kraus grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was rapidly turning pale. Hideyoshi's company was a restaurant chain management company that he started from nothing. Thanks to Hideyoshi's management efforts, the company had achieved success repeatedly, expanding its range, and a petition to make it a stock-listed company had recently succeeded. The greatest advantage of being in the stockholding system is that you can sell stock certificates and gain a large amount of finance. That amount tends to be far greater than a business's normal profit. So, this is an extremely effective way to gather massive funds to expand a business even further. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders gain certain rights. They're given rights that allow them to observe and guide the company they've invested in, leading to profits even greater than their original. This right is guaranteed to the stockholders, and they sometimes use it to dismiss ineffectual management. The right allows them to keep an eye on management and prevent the money they've invested in the company from going to waste. However, if they use it forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company. After all, dismissing management and nominating are powers held by the general body of all shareholders. That power is determined by the majority decision of the stockholder, and people who hold more stock get to cast more votes. In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they'd like. If they want, it's also possible for them to make themselves president. Most companies take various defensive measures to stop malicious people from buying up their stock and threatening their position. Like ensuring that lots of stock is bought up by those close to them, such as company employees. However, Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock listed, and he hadn't had time to strengthen those defensive measures. Or maybe Hideyoshi was so engrossed in the management of his company that he couldn't properly understand the dangers of being stock listed. It's hard to say whether he should be viewed as a kind-hearted manager immersed in the work of management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. In other words, there existed some people who wouldn't let him get away with that naive unscathed. They began repeatedly buying up stock in Hideyoshi's company, rapidly gaining such strength that they couldn't be ignored. They then sent anonymous documents to the shareholders in an attempt to gain control of a majority. The documents read, "The current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the needs of stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again as one that gives more back to the stockholders." It is very difficult to make the actual state of a company's management known. The fruits of Hideyoshi's sleepless nights and constant concern for his company were cruelly distorted, and he lost the trust of his stockholders. Thanks to these efforts, this group had almost collected a majority of the company's stock. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed and started to buy back the stock, but the stockholders realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, and each demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, who had no leeway in the negotiation of the price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that the price will rise when two parties vie for the same thing. And one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything. So in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. Put another way, whoever has the most money wins. Unless Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he could easily lose all he had built so far. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. He couldn't wait for the division of Kinzo's inheritance since no one knew when he would die.
And you, Rudolph, have been in quite a lot of trouble lately too, haven't you? You always hear people say that it's terrifying overseas, but it seems it really is true. American trials are settled quite emotionally. They never hand down generous judgment to foreigners. Weren't you advised by your lawyer that making a settlement with the other party would be more economical in the long run?
What's this all about?
Well, it's just some trouble from work, no big deal. Nothing you can't settle with money.
Kyrie immediately guessed the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rudolph's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge, and had been worrying over it alone.
That's right. In this world, anything can be settled with money. After all, it can even buy back the broken bonds between siblings. America is very fussy about the violation of rights, but with money, anything can be settled. Long live capitalism. Though rumor has it that the settlement money could be as high as several $1,000,000.
Rudolph had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry.
Porn.
However, a niche is a niche. It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolph in this trial would be extremely unlikely, and he was being forced into an all-out surrender. But even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. If he could just pay that money, it might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now.
Rosa, you're a good noble little sister. You wouldn't get yourself involved in dangerous money game. However, your soft-hearted nature has brought you trouble, hasn't it? In my opinion, becoming a co-signer for anything isn't something one should enter into lightly. That's none of your business, Cross.
Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. As Kraus watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. Without exception, every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. In other words, the situation had been reversed. After all, the person the younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter. In other words, the longer it took to establish this deal, the better position Kraus would be in. Kraus was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge until the very end, striking back only after analyzing their actions.
If it were possible, I would like nothing more than to raise some money for my adorable siblings in their time of need, but unfortunately I have nothing on my hand. If you know of any sponsors that might be able to raise a whole 750 million, I suggest you try there first.
Kraus's elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up this charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options.
However, if you do insist on relying on your big brother, I wouldn't mind using my influence to help you find such a sponsor. Oh wait, I do believe you said that I have no influence. Well then, I'm afraid I won't be much help to you.
Kraus's low, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings, who had been driving the oldest brother into a corner until a moment ago, could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth. Ava!
Don't make me laugh, as if I'd ever put myself in your debt. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. If we relied on you, how exactly would you help us? I told you, didn't I? All I can do is find other sponsors for you. Of course, I will negotiate for the highest interest rate possible.
Damn you! Taking advantage of us?
Honey, please calm down.
I am calm. I'm extremely cool like a cucumber. You bastard!
Kyria grabbed her husband's hand. But that action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Kraus laughed as though watching something highly amusing.
In times like these, it certainly would be nice to find father's heat in gold. If you did, you could split it up into 2.5 billion yen portions right now. How sad, how very sad. How extremely, totally, truly, hopelessly sad. Tonight, let us drink together as we solve Riddle of Beatrices' Epitaph and discover the location of father's heat in gold. If we four friendly siblings work together, there is surely no puzzle we can't solve. Oh shit, there's still more.
Yep.
Huh. Quite an entertaining scheme. Well then, what are the conditions they've attached?
Well, whether or not Kraus-sama actually discovers the gold, he'll pay Ava, Rudolph, and Rose a total of 7.5 billion yen for their shares. However, 10% of that will be paid before March.
Kraus, you dunce. To think he would have his feet swept out from under him by his younger siblings. How truly amusing. But it sounds as though they've tripped when going in for the kill, yes?
Yes. Kraus exposed the fact that Ava and the younger siblings all have an urgent need to get money.
Is there even any need to expose such obvious facts? That irresolute, incompetent man? What are they doing now?
That conversation has been put on hold for the time being. Now, Beatrice's epitaph is being discussed.
So, they're trying to solve the riddle and find out where my gold is hidden?
Yes. Kinzo set down his spectacles and snorted.
Will the miracle be fulfilled first? Or will those fools expose the gold first? What a show this will be. At the very moment those fools solve my puzzle, I will suffer utter defeat. They can suck my corpse down to the last fragment of bone. The greed of fools who allow great magic to bring forth a miracle. And yet, if the fulfillment of the miracle comes first, if it comes first, Beatrice will be resurrected again. The smile I have been chasing half my life will be restored. Oh, Beatrice, soon will come the sacred night when we shall bet upon a miracle, and the game of demons shall begin. I will surely prove triumphant and survive. I'll let you have the lives of all those others. I don't need wealth, honor, or assets, or gold, or anything. All I want is to see your smile one last time.
Kinzo choked, apparently in great pain. Cannon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo motioned for him to stop.
Do you know why I went to the trouble of exposing the hidden location of the gold in a place that everyone can see?
No.
It is because magical powers is determined by risk. If the number of people who try to discover Beatrice's gold is great, and the danger of them succeeding is great as well, then the power of magic will bring about a grand miracle if we succeeded despite the odds. In other words, magic is a game. It is not the case that the one who performs the best becomes the victor. The victor performs the best because he has been granted magic. Do you see? It is similar to how the miracle of life can be granted only after winning against the divine odds of several 100 million to 1. Is this a little difficult for you?
My apologies.
That's fine. It all comes down to this. I will give all that I have built up to the one who solves the mystery of Beatrice's epitaph. Wealth, honor, gold, and the inheritance of the Ushiroma family. Everything that I have established. My children certainly are the ones with the right to attempt to solve the riddle. Anyone who solves the riddle will have the right to gain everything. Even you.
Yes. However, I couldn't possibly understand such a difficult riddle.
Of course, I made it difficult, but you must try to solve it as well. That will form the seed that summons the miracle of my magic. If everyone attempts it and everyone fails, that will be that. However, if the miracles come together and give birth to magical power, it will happen. Beatrice will revive. That is why you must attempt it too. Everyone must attempt it, and in so doing, they will give strength to my magic. Do you understand?
Yes. I will try.
For a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and clutching at his head. Canon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he received order from his master. Kinzo eventually realized this.
Very well. Leave me. There's a bag of sweets on the liquor cabinet. You can take some with you as a reward.
I'm fine. After all, I am furniture.
So, furniture doesn't eat sweets. Well, I suppose it stands to reason. In that case, leave me.
Yes. Excuse me. Canon bowed and left the study. As the door closed, a heavy locking noise. But it was not the sound of Canon locking the door. It was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to seal himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. He was already unable to trust anyone accepting, not the children who shared his blood, but those servants who call themselves furniture. Nanjo, how are you feeling?
Genji. Oh, it's just that there's no place for me to be anymore.
With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. That look was apparently enough to tell Genji what Nanjo was saying. For the most part, Genji also understood the family situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now in the lounge, the master he served was being discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression.
Still, I don't understand. Why did Kinzo have something so provocative written, I wonder?
Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait, at the plate with the epitaph.
I do not presume to understand the master's thoughts. However, I'm sure he had a deep reason for doing so. Since long ago, when Kinzo played chess, he would always prepare his moves according to some far-reaching judgment. Yes, sometimes even to make moves I couldn't understand. For an average person like me, it was impossible to see through to whatever it was he was planning. Sometimes I wonder if this might be some kind of will in the master's eye. Perhaps he wishes to hand over his wealth and title to the one who can understand it. So, you're thinking he may have wanted the four siblings to work together and solve the riddle? Before some outsider like myself solved it. Kinzo may speak of his children in insulting terms, but perhaps he also wants them to repair their relationship. It certainly would be heartwarming if, as Nanjo had suggested, this epitaph had been made to repair the siblings' relationship. However, both Nanjo and Genji knew that nothing could be more impossible than this. They'd known Kinzo longer than anyone, and Kinzo trusted them more than his own relatives. But even they could not guess at his true motives. The Master always says that everyone has the right to try and solve the riddle, even if they aren't a member of his family. What about you, Dr. Nanjo? No, it's a little too difficult a puzzle for this senile old man. Actually, I once wrote this epitaph down on my notebook. Night after night, I will try to solve it before going to sleep. But, it really is hard. It looks like we might have some free time to relax and consider it before someone comes to get us. What do you say, Genji? I am nothing more than furniture in service to the Master. Gold and assets are unnecessary to me. You're very modest. And I imagine that's why Kinzo trusts you so much. If so, I am honored. As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key.
Let me take a picture of that real quick, because that's more than what it was before.
Yeah.
Goddamn, my phone's so slow. Alright. Alright, let me check to see it. Alright, cool. Sorry, I broke your immersion.
The epitaph on the portrait called My Beloved Witch Beatrice goes as follows. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the golden land. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the golden land and with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch, Beatrice. And there you go.
Is that the entire first part?
What?
Is it?
The entire first what?
Like a first chapter or whatever? Or is there still more of the first chapter?
Of the first episode?
Yeah, episode, I mean.
Oh yeah, there's more.
Wow.
But we're done for today. We're done for today.
Wow. Okay. I did hear... Well, let's just watch this really quick.
Yeah.
Do.
Look at those beautiful clouds.
Wow.
In the next episode, in the next part, in our next video,
It's a beach.
we'll be going down to the beach.
I fucking knew it. Oh my
It's a
god.
preview preview of the beach.
Wow.
There you go. And there's Battler on the beach.
Wait, so I heard something update.
Oh, well, it's in the tips.
Is it tips?
Yeah, click tips.
Oh, it's here. All right,
Yep.
cool. Wait, what's next? I see. Okay, so I didn't. Nice.
I told you the first mystery.
Okay. I guess it's time to save. Let's save over this. You know exactly the day we're recording this and what time.
Yep.
So. Okay. All right. I'll
Okay,
do.
so what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think before we stop recording?
Like. About what? Because it's really big and broad right now. I feel.
About what just happened? About the whole scene that we just read. This whole video, the Friday video.
Okay, so I think there's definitely something weird going on with the servants. Something's definitely weird going on with the servants, dude. It's like they don't have any sort of like identity. It's weird. And with the newest servant, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with him. The youngest servant seems to have taken on this the identity of furniture.
Yeah.
And same thing with the oldest servant.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think...
And also, Shannon mentioned being furniture once.
Right, she did. I remember that, yep. Because when her boobs were about to be touched, yep. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what was happening.
Okay, and so about this, like, treasure. So, basically, the three siblings want a lot of money right now. The oldest sibling can wait.
Mm-hmm.
So, he didn't sign it, did he?
I don't think he signed it.
No, he didn't.
No, they were offering him the pencil. They had the paper out, but I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't offer him any of that. Instead, they chose to talk about the riddle.
Yeah. Well,
This
it was
riddle.
after he started saying like, I know all of the stuff that you guys are doing.
Yeah. It was like a way to kind of diffuse the situation or like put an end to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now the witch.
Which?
So it seems like the witch cursed, or it seems like Kinzo summoned this demon. The demon granted him a large sum of gold and like some sort of promise, with basically creating a game out of it. And the game is this. This is the game. The game is the mystery.
The game is the Epitaph?
Yeah, the game is the Epitaph.
Maybe.
So, okay. On the 10th Twilight. And then right after, this thing right here. Then the 12th Twilight, the journey ends. So that seems something important. How many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's 18.
Okay, well that's a lot. So 18 minus 4 is 14.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, minus 5, 6. That's 12. 12 characters. He's mentioning... oh no, that's 10. So I think we might be able to discount Battler, because he's like the protagonist and he can't be the guy. And her, I don't think she's... I think she's like a support character for the story, maybe. So
Maybe.
I think that's definitely up to like these people right here. Or maybe no, this guy has to remain impartial. So she can be in it. Cause he can't. It'd make for a kind of shitty story if he could just say like, yeah, like this is how he solved the riddle.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So. All right.
So you're just thinking about the riddle of the epitaph right now?
Riddle of the Epitaph. The weird servants. Really weird. Look at them. They all look so weird.
Have you ever met a servant? How do you know what's weird for them?
You know, good point. But I'm still gonna say they're weird. And then Rosa. What is she manages a design company, but she has yet to start taking it seriously, and its financial situation is far from favorable. So she wants a lot of money. He wants a lot of money. She wants a lot of money. Or I guess he wants a lot of money, but like she also wants him to have a lot of money.
They're basically they're like married, so
Yeah.
it'll be both of their money.
Mm-hmm. She listened to the entire conversation,
But
and
yeah,
also
she didn't
he
know
knew about the entire conversation.
So he was probably listening,
Yeah,
like at the door.
something like that. Maybe he has psychic powers and he just read all their minds at the same time. Maybe that's what the story becomes. It's just it's just psychic powers, magic psychic powers.
Canon is psychic.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Maybe he's psychic.
Maybe. So, yeah. I don't know what kind of role Maria's gonna play. I know that she's probably going to like be interacting with Kinzo at some point because of their like black magic stuff. That's how I feel, at least. Maybe Maria will be the one who ends up getting the fortune.
Maria will be the one who ends up getting the riddle.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Anyways, all this is just wild speculation. I don't have any proof for anything, so I'll think about it throughout the week.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun.
You have fun?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I guess this is the Friday episode, so I guess we'll see you all next time.
We'll see you Monday.
For my chance to win $500. Whoa, money.
Whoa.
Wait, before we go, is this essentially the same thing as you're trying to do in, like, fuck, how do I explain this? So it's the same thing in the game, right? In the novel, it's like you solve this riddle, you get all this money. Did you even think about that?
Well, it's not really the riddle.
Yes, I know it's not a riddle, but it's still a similar idea.
Well, no, it is a riddle, but it's not the riddle that you have to solve.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's the murders and how they're done.
Yeah. Really, the riddle is, I was actually thinking, since the riddle is actually solved before episode 6 is done, so it would be really easy for you to do that then.
Oh.
So I was thinking that, I might throw in like a $50 bet. If you can solve the riddle before the end of episode 4, then, you could, then, I'll give you $50. Right at the end of episode.
Alright, let's determine what this means right now. Okay, I think I solved it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, what is it? Where's the goal?
Okay, so look at all these O's, alright? And look at all of these.
Do you know binary? Look, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Do you know what that is binary? It's 0.
So if you read it completely backwards, you eventually get to behold at the beginning, and you mom gay. There, proved it.
What?
You mom gay.
Okay.
Yep.
Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. Yeah, and that's what that one spoiler that I said was in the comments. It was referencing the Epitaph, so you can read that whole comment. That's on episode 3, because it was saying that the rose going was a metaphor for Beatrice. It just says sleep peacefully, my beloved Beatrice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Alright. But it says, like, so Beatrice is asleep right now. She's going to
Yeah.
be woken up, and then she's going
then
to
she's
go to
gonna go
sleep
back to
for
sleep.
good.
Yeah.
So right now she's just napping.
Yeah, she's sleeping. She'll wake up, and then she'll go back to sleep.
Yep. That's. Yep. All right. I'll figure it out this riddle on my own. I don't need your hints or anything. Anyways,
Oh, dude, that's not a hint. That's just what it says.
I don't need anything from you. Get out of here. What are you doing? Get out of here. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everyone. See you later.
You too.
No.